Welcome to The Explainer. So, have you ever stopped to think about what actually happens when our totally unlimited, endless human wants crash right into our extremely limited reality? We all want more, right? More goods, better services, higher standards of living. But the hard truth is, the universe just hasn't handed us an infinite supply of the raw materials needed to make all that happen. So how does an entire society figure out what to do?
What happens when you want it all, but there's only so much to go around? This is basically the bedrock of economics, the fundamental problem of scarcity. Because we can't have everything, we're literally forced to make tough choices. And economists don't just sit around and guess how societies make these decisions. They have a brilliant tool to map it out, a way to visualize exactly what happens when an economy has to choose one path over another.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to map out society's menu of choices, look at butter versus guns, lay down the 4 rules of the game, calculate the cost of switching, and finally, we'll draw the curve itself.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Society's Menu of Choices.
Think of the production possibility curve, or the PPC for short, as a literal menu. But instead of for a restaurant, it's for an entire country. Also known as the transformation curve or the production possibility frontier, the PPC is a curve showing the various combinations of 2 goods an economy can produce when its resources and technology are totally fixed. Basically, it tells us exactly what is possible, given what we currently have sitting in our national pantry.
Moving right along to Section 2, Butter versus Guns.
Let's take butter, for instance. In economics, this represents all civilian goods. We're talking things like food, clothing, everyday items that make our quality of life better. Now contrast that with guns, which represents non-civilian goods, specifically weapons and national defense. By contrasting everyday food with heavy weaponry, we're setting up the absolute extremes of our economic spectrum. It's a classic model used to clearly illustrate the heavy trade-offs any society faces.
Next up, Section 3, the 4 rules of the game. Now, before we can play the game and map this all out, we have to pretend the world operates under 4 very strict rules, or assumptions. We have fixed resources, unchanging technology, full employment of those resources, and unequal resource efficiency. Let's break these down one by one with some simple analogies so they really stick. Rule number 1, fixed resources. The amount of productive resources in our economy is completely locked in. Imagine a kid sitting down to play with exactly 100 Lego blocks. You can't just reach into thin air and grab more plastic out of nowhere, right? The land, labor, and capital we have right now is all we get to work with.
Rule number 2, absolutely no change in technology. In this model, there are no magic wands allowed. The instruction manual for those Lego blocks doesn't magically update itself to let us build twice as fast. For the purpose of this exercise, our technical know-how is totally frozen in time.
Then we have rule number 3, full employment. This means every single productive resource is fully utilized. Absolutely no toys are left sitting in the toy box. We aren't leaving any workers idle on the bench, and we aren't leaving any farmland unplanted. Every single thing is working at maximum capacity.
And finally, rule number 4, which is honestly the most crucial one to understand, unequal resource efficiency. Resources are not equally good at producing all things. If we decide we want to stop making butter and start making guns, we have to transfer workers. Imagine making a highly skilled pastry baker suddenly start forging iron swords. It's going to be incredibly clunky. Their efficiency will absolutely plummet, and the cost of production will shoot right up.
All right, Section 4, the cost of switching.
To really wrap our heads around this cost, there's this great quote from the legendary actor Shah Rukh Khan that perfectly sums up the economic principle. He said, "Kuch paane ke liye, kuch khona padta hai." To gain something, you must lose something. In a world of fixed resources, you just cannot get something for nothing.
In the economics world, we call that inevitable loss the marginal opportunity cost. It's specifically defined as the cost of producing one more unit of a good by giving up units of another. If our society decides it wants more butter to feed its people, it strictly requires sacrificing the production of guns. There's no way around it.
Let's break down a schedule of possibilities to see exactly how this sacrifice plays out. Imagine we're at possibility A. We make 0 butter and 15,000 guns. But let's say we want 1 million kilos of butter. That's possibility B. To get it, we have to give up 1,000 guns. The cost is a 1-to-1 ratio. But look what happens as we keep demanding more and more butter. Moving from C to D to get just 1 more unit of butter, that costs us 3,000 guns. and going from E to F costs us a staggering 5,000 guns. The cost just keeps increasing. Why? Because of rule number 4. We're forcing worse and worse resources to make butter. It's literally like forcing an expert blacksmith to churn cream. It becomes incredibly inefficient.
Which brings us to our final stop. Section 5, drawing the curve.
So when we take all those exact combinations, A through F, and plot them on a graph with butter on the x-axis and guns on the y-axis, this really distinct shape emerges. This right here is our production possibility curve.
You're going to notice two defining features right away. First, it slopes downwards to the right. This is the visual proof of our fixed resources rule. It shows that to gain more of one thing, you absolutely must give up another. Second, it's concave, meaning it bows outward from the origin. That specific curved shape, that is the visual proof of increasing opportunity cost. It's the mathematical representation of our baker struggling to forge a sword.
Now, what about the points that aren't perfectly sitting on that curved line? Points A and B are right on the line, meaning we are fully 100% efficient. But point C is sitting inside the curve. If an economy is operating at point C, it means we're violating Rule 3. Resources are just lying idle, workers are unemployed, and we've left toys in the toy box. And point D, way out there, outside the curve, that point is currently impossible to reach. We simply do not have enough Lego blocks in our box today to build that much of both goods.
Sure, point D might be impossible today, but what about tomorrow? If our society experiences real economic growth, meaning we actually acquire more resources, or maybe we invent some brand new incredible technology, the entire curve physically shifts outward to the right. Suddenly, what was totally impossible before becomes an attainable reality.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway from this explainer. The production possibility curve isn't just some abstract textbook graph. It is a profound reflection of our reality. Every single choice a society makes has an opportunity cost attached to it. If our world's resources are largely fixed right now, what tough, clunky, and expensive choices is our global menu going to force us to make tomorrow? It's definitely something every informed citizen should be thinking about. Thanks for exploring the PPC with me today.